Hi, I'm Susan Wade-Weeks. I'm standing for the Conservatives at the general election, and I'm very much hoping to be supporting a new stadium for York.
Over the last 18 months of campaigning, what have you picked up regarding the new stadium and its progress so far?
Well, as far as I can see, there's been very little progress, unfortunately. Obviously, without a new stadium, both of the teams, both the rugby league team and York City, are in really difficult circumstances. It's going to be very, very hard for them to keep their youth teams going. It's going to be very difficult for them. We really need to get behind this project. One of the projects I'm very interested in is creating a new skate park on a really big scale that would be a national draw for people coming to York. But also, if we could combine it perhaps with this idea of a new stadium where all of the teams could have their permanent home, where they can really settle in and work together with the local community and with the young teams, then it would be a really, really great thing for York. It's something we really desperately need.
How important do you think a big flagship stadium project would be to building community identity and increasing people's loyalty to the City of York?
It's very important. It's very important because the stadium we've got at the moment is falling to bits. It's a real there are safety issues there. We need people to feel there's somewhere really decent that they can be proud of, where their teams are based, and they can go and watch the home team in comfort, and they can be proud when they've got visiting teams coming, that their changing rooms are, top notch, that they're not ashamed of it. At the moment it's just shabby, and it's just not good enough. York is an iconic city. We have a really, really high standing in terms of tourism in the country. And if successful, I would try to make sure that we are top of the list when it comes to the big project, the infrastructure that we need to get this city going again and get it back in its rightful place.
How could you help a stadium get built in the City of York? What could you bring to the table?
Well, if I were successful, if I were elected, and if we are lucky enough to have a Conservative government after May the 6th, then I've already been making contacts within the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, and so I would hope to bring York to their attention. In fact, we've already had visits from Tobias Ellwood, who's the Tourism Minister, Shadow Minister, and from Ed Vaizey, who's the Shadow Minister for Arts. And they have shown a great interest in York. They're very keen to come back. They can see what a fantastic city it is and what great potential we have. And they have said to me that if successful, they will do everything they can to help. If we have some decent plans, they will help get these things funded.
York currently has a very small Tory presence on the council. Could you work with other parties to make something happen?
Well, ideally, yes. I mean, hopefully, if we're successful this time, if we have a Conservative government, hopefully that will mean that in 2011 we will get more Conservative councillors in the centre of the city. We desperately need more in the centre of the city. I think part of the problem over the last decade has been this toing and froing between Labour and the Lib Dems, and it's caused something of a stalemate. I think everyone would agree. We've got the Barbican, we've got no stadium, we've got no big swimming pool in the centre of the city, we have no really big decent skate park. There are so many things that a city like this should have that we don't have. And it doesn't really make any sense. Certainly when I first came here I couldn't understand it until I saw the problems that we have with the council. It's created a kind of stasis. It seems that it's impossible to push anything forward.
How do we go about putting pressure on the key people? How can you assist us? Who do we need to contact to get the funding for this stadium?
Well, if I'm successful, if I'm elected as the next MP for York Central, at the centre of the city, then I'm in a very good position. It's quite likely that I might be involved in the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, as those are some of my major interests. And so I would be a party to those discussions. Where's the money going? Who are we going to organise lottery funding for, and so on. I'd have a part to play in it directly. If I'm not elected, of course, it'll be a lot more difficult.
Do you think that the City of York Council should put aside its party political differences and join together to work for this new stadium?
Well, that would be wonderful, but of course it's always a question of money. And the fact is, we're talking millions. The City Council doesn't have that money, and in fact they're probably going to be asked to make savings, as all councils are. So I think we need to be a bit more imaginative about funding and a bit more imaginative about who we approach. Maybe find private, big companies who have an investment in York, for whom that kind of project would be some kind of a flagship, a statement of commitment to the city. As in the old days, the chocolate companies in the old days, they built streets, they built leisure centres, they provided things for people to do. I'm hoping we can get back to that.
Why should the people of York, who are fans of the football and rugby clubs, vote for you?
Well, if they vote for me and I win, then I'm going to be someone with a real say in how those resources are allocated, and I would fight tooth and nail to make sure that they come our way, that they come to the City of York.